What's up, family? How you doing? It's your girl, Dr. Shonna. Here I am live for Mental Health Fridays on a Friday. Whoop, whoop. Shout out to me. I am live on a Friday. We're going to talk about Kanye West, y'all. We have to talk about Kanye West. Not only what's going down in Yayville, but I want to give you guys a different perspective. Now, y'all know I always like to bring it to you with a different perspective. But in the meantime, in between time, I know you guys weren't expecting me today on a Mental Health Friday, but I'm here. I want you all to share the video. So go ahead and do me that favor, family. Share the video. I'm going to keep this video PG-13. A couple of curse words might slip, but I'm going to try not to do that. So go ahead and share the video to all my family. Let your friends, your family, your frenemies, let them all know that we are live. We're going to have a real serious conversation for Mental Health Friday. We're going to really go over what's been happening with Kanye West in the news. We're going to talk about what's been going on with Kanye West with respects to his trilogy. I hope you guys have seen his trilogy on Netflix. If not, after this video, I suggest you guys go ahead and watch the trilogy on Netflix. But I want to give a fat shout out to my family on both YouTube and Facebook. I appreciate every last one of you guys. Family on Facebook, I'm gonna need y'all to go ahead and share this video. Don't be stingy. Show your love. Share the videos. What's up, Monique? I see Monique is on from Facebook. I love all of you guys. Go ahead and share the video. Give the video a thumbs up, a like, an angry face, a heart. It doesn't matter. And make sure you go ahead and like and follow me on Facebook as well as YouTube. Family, subscribe to the channel if you have not already done so. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Share the video. Don't be haters. Don't be haters, because hating don't look cute in this community. And as you all know, because we're going to have some visitors, y'all already know we always have the visitors in this community. And I don't know why the visitors come to my channel. I mean, if you read the description of my channel or my channels and what my channels are about, with the exception of Instagram, that's the fluffy channel where everybody is welcome. But I don't know why people don't read my description. They think you're going to come here and it's going to be all fun and games. And they know I'm controversial. I don't know why they don't come here ready for the BS, because you know I'm ready for the BS every damn day. However, we're going to have some visitors coming in to our channel. We welcome our visitors. They like our long distance cousins. They may not be family, but they like our long distance cousins. We welcome them. Go ahead, and just as long as our visitors stay respectful. Now, to my moderators, you already know how we get down, right? So today, we ain't letting them slide today, because today's going to get heated. I want y'all to know right now it's going to get heated today. And some of our visitors is not going to like what I have to say. They're not going to like what I have to say. So if our visitors get kind of crazy, you know, the long distance cousins, like the fourth or fifth cousins, you know how they get, right? If our long distance cousins come in here and they start acting crazy, we already know how we're going to do it. We're going to block them today. We're going to block them. If I can delete their asses, we're going to do that too. However, if they're on their good behavior and they're just asking questions and they're contributing to the conversation and they're not attacking anybody, then you can go ahead and leave them there. You don't got to delete the cousins today. We always have the inbreds that come on. You know about the inbreds. Well, let's go ahead and get into it. Let's not delay anymore. By now, you know, we only have 114, 115 people on. I suspect you guys are going to share the video because we want them to climb for Mental Health Fridays. Now, family, peace and love to all of you guys. Did you all watch the trilogy on Netflix regarding Kanye? Now, I watched that trilogy. I also been watching Kanye West unravel online, right? And I feel sorry for him. I don't know how y'all feel, but I do feel sorry for him because obviously I have a different perspective when it comes to mental health. So I feel really sorry for Kanye, but I've been watching him unravel online. I've seen his documentary, and somebody says, heck no, I think it's well worth the watch. Right? And Rayo doesn't feel sorry for him. That's okay. We can have a difference of opinions today, right? She's saying she don't feel sorry for him, but you know what? Rayo been with me for a long time. I love her regardless. And we don't always have to agree with each other, right? And that's okay. You don't have to feel sorry for Kanye. This video isn't a sympathy for Kanye. This video isn't a feel bad for Kanye, but I am a therapist. right? That's what my doctoral studies is in. And I watch what goes on, especially in our community. And I have some things I want to be able to say about that. So, you ain't got to feel bad about Kanye. I do. I feel sorry for him because I understand mental illness. And that's why I came on deliberately today on Friday, because I want you guys to all catch this message. Now, let's first talk about Kanye West and his trilogy before we get into the chaos that's going on online. Let me tell you something. When I watched his trilogy, there were so many gems I can take out of that trilogy. I'm not going to go into all the gems. You got to watch it for yourself. There's a lot of gems, but I love the fact that this man, as nutty as he seems to the rest of the world, his mind is actually brilliant. I know a lot of people don't want to hear that, and that's okay. That's cool. No problem. But to me, in my opinion, these are my opinions, his mind is actually brilliant. For the fact that before he even knew that he was going to be the Kanye West that we know, or the Ye, whatever the hell he calls himself today, before he even knew where he was going in life, this man was brilliant enough to have his boy, his friend, whatever you want to call this guy, document his life as he was going through his journey as a 19-year-old black male. I'm going to put the emphasis on black male because this is Mental Health Fridays, and I talk to the black community, and I know what I talk about relates to a lot of people, but my audience is the black community. So the reason why I'm saying this black man, because I'm going to show y'all how nasty America is at the end of this video. Whether you like Kanye or not, I'm going to put America's face in the front of all you guys in their nastiness. But let me tell you something. He was 19 years old when he first started selling his beats for pennies on a dollar. Okay? This man loved himself enough to have somebody come on board and record or document his life as he was going through his journey. They didn't leave a lot of stuff out. They showed the rejection that this man received from other people. They showed the rejection, right? I want y'all to really listen to me tonight. When Rock Nation didn't take him seriously and wasn't even listening to his beats, was pretty much shooing him out the door as though he was a pest. He wasn't a pest when they was buying his music, but he was a pest when he was trying to get them to hear him as a rapper, shooing him along. And this man, despite the rejection, despite his mental illness, come on, y'all better catch these gems I'm dropping, he still went along with the program. He still pushed his information out there. He still pushed his record out there. He still was selling his beats. He still was recording his life. He still was documenting everything that he was going through because he believed from day one that he was going to be somewhere in life. So the first part of the trilogy, there's 3 parts to it, i.e. the trilogy, right? The first part of his trilogy, he's documented his journey. And he looks, as many of you all would say, I don't use the word normal because what is normal is nutty, and what is nutty is normal. So nothing is normal, okay? But I know a lot of people say, well, he ain't normal. He ain't right. He ain't even normal, whatever the case is. Video number 1 presented any young black aspiring man that had the energy, that had the drive to keep on pushing despite the consequences, despite the boundaries, despite the obstacles. He kept going and going and going. So he looked like in those videos, he was a normal functioning young black male. You hear me? You hear me? Because I need y'all to really understand what's happening here. So I need y'all to just follow the bouncing balls and come with me on this journey because I'm going to show you what's happening here. The second video, I'm not going to spoil it for you guys. I know some of you guys want to go in and watch it. I'm just giving y'all some insight, right? The second video is really chronicling not only his success when it finally hit, when his drive paid off, and as his success hit, but it also shows you the death of his mother. But what's important for this? what's important for this in video too is the love that his mother had for him. And if any of you out there are parents, especially if you are parents of children who have mental illnesses, you will see the beauty behind the second part of his trilogy. You understand what I'm saying, y'all? Despite what she knew about her son, because that's not documented. Her thoughts, her experience raising him is not documented. But despite what she knew, the challenges she had raising somebody like Kanye, she showed nothing but love for her son. A lot of love, a lot of you mother freakers out there don't show. And I'm not saying in my community per se, but I am, right? A lot of y'all don't show that kind of love that she showed for her kids, for her son. This woman loved this man no matter what, and not one time in this documentary did she speak to his mental health issue. And trust and believe, by the time he got 19, they already knew he had bipolar. Because that's not something you just wake up today and then boom, you bipolar. It doesn't work that way. So she already knew the challenges her son was going through in life. And despite that, or in spite of that, she loved him regardless. And her love was unconditional. She believed in her son. She believed that despite whatever illness he has, he was going to be successful. She believed that he was going to climb that ladder to success no matter what. She knew his songs before they even became hits. This lady knew his lyrics to his songs. She let him know to keep going. And even though people don't see him as successful as he is successful no matter what. She kept going. And so her love for him, this is what's very important here, y'all. The love that she has for her son helped him to keep going. When all else in his life failed or was failing, she was the battery in his back. And sometimes that's all y'all need, family. This is what I get from part 2. I'm going to get on to part 3, and then we're going to go into what's in the news. Sometimes you need family when you have illnesses such as Kanye West illnesses, or some of y'all in this community. Don't act like y'all ain't got them, because a lot of people do, okay? We're going to talk about that in the Black community. We're about to get into that. But sometimes when you have that unconditional love from a parent, it's enough. It's enough to propel you to great heights. I need y'all to know this when I say this. I need y'all to see this video. Let me tell y'all something. Let me give y'all something. People that have been with me for a long time, y'all know my personal life. Y'all know my children before I started pulling them offline. I started pulling my children off a line, right? Because going on vacation and people seeing me in vacation and seeing me in restaurants, people violate your space all the time. And I know y'all don't mean nothing bad about it. So I take my children off, because you never know when you're going to meet somebody who has an illness that might harm my children, right? So I take them off a line. I take my children off a line intentionally. But those of you guys who have been with me for a long time, y'all know my second son he lives with a mental illness. He lives with it. But he doesn't know that, right? He knows it, but he doesn't know it. And he doesn't know it because the same type of love that Kanye West's mom, Dr. Donda West, has for her son, I have for my children. So my children were never raised to look at defeat. They was always raised to know that you can do it, no matter what. And when people were tired of my son, when the school system was tired of my son, I always told my son that he was going to be successful. You're going to be smart. You're going to be successful. You listen, they just ain't ready for you. You light years ahead of them. They ain't ready for you. When my son was put into special education, not because he wasn't smart enough, because he was genius, and you guys who have been with me for a long time, I shared his IQ test with you guys, and he is above very superior. There's no even marking for his intellect. They just stopped marking it. They said very superior, and they just left it like that, okay? I shared that with you guys. Blanket. Showed y'all the IEP and everything, showed y'all the IQ test and everything. Because I know what it's like to have a child that the world don't understand. Come on, y'all. Y'all gotta listen to me. Y'all gotta listen to me. I know what it's like to have a child that the world does not understand. And I know what it's like for a child in their mind that they can't even understand to be criticized by the world, to be rejected by the world, all that they're going through, all the rejection that they get, all the criticism that they get, all the fact that kids don't want to be friends with them, they don't get invited to birthday parties, whatever you can think of, my son went through it. And the only thing that my son had consistently was my love. Consistently. No matter what. No matter what. I believed in him. So when I watched Dr. West and her love for her son, that is literally documented, because this man had a camera following him since the age of 19. Genius. But nonetheless, when I watch her interaction and I watch the love that she has for her son, I understood immediately why he was able to be successful. Y'all hear me? Some of y'all didn't hear it in the back. That's okay. I'm going to say it again for those that's on the short yellow bus. That's okay. When I watched that documentary and I saw how this woman, Dr. West, was able, and I'm going to put some respect on her name. I ain't going to call her Donda. I'm going to call her Dr. West. Give that lady her due respect. When I saw the way Dr. West knew the lyrics to her son's songs and was singing it with him, when I saw the way she encouraged him, and I seen the way he was talking to his mother, and I was able to see something is going on in this man's head that the world don't understand. And she saw it, and she just knew how to calm her son down. She knew how to love her son in a way that he needed to be loved so that he can keep that illness under control. See, let me tell y'all don't get it. Because some of y'all don't know what it's like to raise a child who has challenges. That's what I'm going to call it. Right? Challenges. Some of y'all don't know what it's like to raise a child who has those kind of challenges. And it ain't easy. It ain't easy dealing with them when they're going through their issues. It ain't easy dealing with them when they're at their saddest, when they're at their lowest. It ain't easy dealing with them when they're angry at the world because they're rejected by the world. It ain't easy dealing with them when they don't believe in themselves, that they don't see the value in living life and they don't want their life anymore. And they wonder how it would be if they did not have a life. It's not easy dealing with a child like that. But when you're able to supersede that all and you're able to still have the love for your child, sometimes, I'm not saying all the times, I'm saying sometimes is enough to keep your child in line and under check. Because they know that you have their back no matter what. They got their mama or their daddy. I ain't trying to be sexist, or their daddy, right? But they have their parents. When everybody else forsakes them, they got their parents. And that's what she was for him in the second trilogy. Now let's go on to trilogy number 3. By this time, his mom passes away. Now y'all all know how Dr. West crossed over into the afterlife. Y'all already know how that went down. She had cardiac arrest and they could not bring her back. And so he lost his mother like that. It was like that. It's not like she was sick and he watched her get sick and die. It was his rock that he had all of his life, all of a sudden was no more. And you were able to see in the third part of the trilogy, you were able to see how his mind started to deteriorate from then. You were able to see how he had more manic episodes. And I'm going to get into bipolar. I'm going to have y'all understand. For those who don't understand, you're able to see how he was more manic than he was depressed. Not that depression wasn't there. It was there. But he was more manic. He had so many manic episodes. And you were able to see it unfold right in front of your face on camera. Now, here's the thing. The people dealing with him didn't understand what was happening. The people dealing with him, all they saw was Kanye's being crazy. All they saw was Kanye is losing it. All they saw was this man is bugging out. All they saw was like, man, I can't mess with Ye. I can't get down with Ye. Yo, this is crazy. That's all they saw. But let me ask you something, family. How often do we see just that in our community? When we know that somebody in our community is not presenting within the normal, whatever that means, the normal range, how many of us in our community downplay it, write them off as crazy, put them to the side, don't entertain it, don't try to talk to them, don't try to help them, not their listening ear? How many of us in our community pass them by, reject them, don't want to deal with them, pull away from them? Come on now. Come on now. How many of us do it? How many of us, that's right, Evolving 365, he said taboo. It's absolutely taboo. How many of us in our community excuse the behavior? We don't give it a name. We don't say mental illness. We don't call it what it's named. We don't say bipolar. We don't say schizoaffective. We don't say schizophrenic. We don't say major depression. We don't say none of that stuff. We just pass it off like he or she got problems. They got issue. Oh, they always do. They always act crazy. Ever since his mama died, he was acting crazy. And that's exactly what you saw play out in part 3. Dismissing him, dismissing his struggles with his illness. No one is stopping saying, let me get him some help. No one is stopping and saying something is not right. Let me just be there for him. Let me spend some time with him. Let me bring him down. No one is saying that. They just see him, yes, Evolving. He acting a fool. They just saw it as he acting a fool. He don't know how to act. He Hollywood now. You know how we do in our community. Come on, sisters and brothers, my melanated community. Let's not act crazy. Y'all know how we do it in our community. Oh, now he Hollywood. He just acting crazy. Got a little bit of money. He just acting crazy. No one saw that this man lost control of his illness when his mama expired. No one saw that. Alex Little, you are not correct. Alex Little, you are not correct. But that's okay. I don't expect you to be correct. You're not correct. Because you got to understand, people with bipolar, I'm going to get into that in a little bit, but people with bipolar will have grandiose ideas. Doesn't mean that they are a narcissist, right? And that's the thing about this community, and I mean that with all due respect, but in this community, or not only in our community, but just in general, in this society as we know it today, everybody's a narcissist now. Everybody just likes to throw around the word narcissist. Y'all wouldn't know a narcissist if it hits you in the fucking face, okay? Y'all wouldn't trust me when I say it. If a narcissist came in your life, you wouldn't even know it until it was too damn late. Trust me when I say it. Now, do people have narcissistic traits? A lot of people have narcissistic traits. Half of you jokers got narcissistic traits. But a narcissist? A personality disorder? Oh, baby, you ain't ready for it. Trust me when I say it. You ain't ready for it. I'm just trying to tell y'all. I laugh all the time when people are like, oh, he a narcissist. And then I start speaking to them and I start getting information. They don't know what the hell they're talking about. They're just saying it because everybody else is saying it. They're just saying it because everybody else is saying it because they don't understand bipolar. They don't understand bipolar. They run with these propaganda ideas of what these disorders and illnesses are because they don't understand it. And what's so unfortunate about this, the reason why I'm passionate about this, because there's a lot of people in our community that have bipolar, either bipolar 1, I'm going to get into it, or bipolar 2, but they have bipolar. And a lot of people in our community pass them over as they just crazy. They just like to talk about themselves. Right? He got issues. She got issues. That's what happens when you get famous. That's what happens when you get money. You get crazy. This is how our community thinks. This is how our community thinks, and we wonder why mental health in our community. All right, I'm sorry about that, Alex. Alex says, I don't think he's a narcissist. It was in quotes, pardon. My bad, my bad. But, you know, I mean, what I said still stands, but my bad toward you. My bad toward you. I have no problem apologizing. My bad toward you. But the reason why we pass it off in our communities is because we don't want to deal with the fact that we got these illnesses. We don't want to deal with that as a fact. So what I say to watch this documentary is not because I'm asking you to be a Kanye West fan. I can care less who you like and who you don't like. What he eat don't make me poop. I don't care what you like and what you don't like. I'm saying it because if you want to see mental illness and how that kind of stuff chronicles and deteriorates like that, you got to be able to watch it. You got to be able to watch it to really understand what is happening. So now let's go into the news. Now, y'all know that he was married to Kim Kardashian, whatever her damn name is. I don't care what her name is. No disrespect, but disrespect. You know what I mean? I don't care what her name is. But he was married to one of them, you know, OnlyFans girls, right? And they got 4 kids. 4 kids. I think the ages are 8, 6, I don't know, maybe 8, 6, 4, and 2, something like that. But they got 4 school-age children. And we all saw when his illness started to really unravel. We saw when he got on TV, even though it was funny to me. It wasn't funny to you guys. Some of you guys, it wasn't funny, but it was hilarious to me. When he got on TV and he said Bush hates black people, hilarious. Classic. When he got on TV, I know y'all don't find it funny, but I don't care. Y'all ain't got to laugh at my humor. I find things funny. I'm not afraid to say it's funny. The difference is I'm on camera and I can say it. And you guys probably think it's funny too, but you're afraid of how people are going to think about you if you say it out loud. But that's okay. I don't care how people think about me. I'm going to say it out loud. When he took Taylor Swift, Mike, funny. I was on the floor, hilarious. But I also knew there was something else going on up there. So we watched this man deteriorate on television. We watched him say some things that the average person thought was kind of loony. Now, they thought it was loony, but if you listen to the Joker, I'm just saying, you ain't got to agree with me. I don't care. But if you listen to the Joker, it really is not loony. Like, this dude really hits home with a lot of stuff. Some things, if you take it at face value and you don't unpack it, you be like, brother crazy. He lost his damn mind. Because that's what a lot of people in our community do, right? The minute somebody says something that's out of the norm, whatever normal is, right? When it's out of the norm, a lot of people in our community be like, that ninja done lost his mind. You know how we are in our community. Everybody's a ninja. That ninja done lost his mind. However, when I hear some of the things he's saying, I'm like, let me unpack this. Where's this coming from? Makes sense to me, right? Not that it should be said in the manner in which he says it, but a lot of things he says makes a lot of sense. But no, how do they see him? He's crazy. They see him as dismissive. They don't see him as somebody who marches to the drum that everybody else hears and marches to. He's on his own drum and his own path. He went out to the thing with Donald Trump and supported him with his red hat and everything, and everyone said this man was crazy. Even though half of you ninjas are regretting right now. But that's okay. That's a whole other story. We're not having a political conversation today. This is Mental Health Friday today. We ain't going to get political. But I'm just saying. The way his mind works, to me, in my opinion. Now, I know a lot of you guys don't like it. That's okay. We ain't got to agree. But in my opinion, the way his mind works, he got a beautiful mind. He got a beautiful mind. If you just sit back and listen to him and not be offended by the abrasiveness that comes out of his mouth, you will hear that his thoughts run deep and his thoughts are actually well thought out. Now, he doesn't always deliver it correctly. And for people who are sensitive, they can't take or stomach the things that he says. Here goes somebody here. Let me put this up here because he's absolutely right. Somebody said when he said slavery was a choice, he was right. Now, a lot of people got offended by that statement. That's an awesome statement out there that's been out there, and people are crazy and people are mad. You know, the kumbaya people. You know, y'all know the shea butter people. I'm just trying to say. They offended. He lost his mind. He's disrespecting the ancestors. Good Lord. All this stuff they say. But when you really unpack it, and you really, let's say if you studying the revolts that happened, there were numerous revolts. Our beloved ancestor Nate Turner wasn't the only one. There was numerous revolts. And how many jokers were scared of revolting? How many jokers were scared of chopping off their master's head? I mean, come on, I'm just saying. Somebody holding you captive, somebody got to die. It's either me or you. I'm just saying. But people don't like to hear the stuff that he's saying, because when they're hearing him, they're seeing it through a lens of watching somebody who is a crazed man. Right? Somebody say this is it. We're not going to take this into this debate. Somebody say, how can slavery be a choice? We're not going to take this into a debate. But I am going to say this to you, Gwen. You don't have to agree with what Kanye said. You don't have to agree with a lot of other people that can think critically and unpack it, right? You don't have to agree with it. But let me ask you something, Gwen. I'm just going to ask you a question. I'm going to move on, but I'm going to ask you a question, Gwen. Why were they not successful at enslaving Native Americans? I'm just going to ask you that. Why were they not successful in enslaving African Americans? See, I think sometimes not African Americans, Native Americans. I think sometimes when we hear this, we want it to be, or we want it to look like what it is right now. Kumbaya. We all sitting down in the same restaurants together. We all having a whole bunch of fun together, hugging on each other. We just ebony and ivory. Somebody put the song on. We just ebony and ivory, living in perfect harmony. We just having fun. But some people, Gwen, whether you agree with it or not, some people are not afraid of death. Right? I'm saying. Wow, Gwen, are you serious? Gwen, you said because Native Americans have lighter skin? Oh, we ain't having that conversation today. Gwen, are you joking? I'm not trying to be funny, Gwen, but are you joking? Like, you talking about and I'm not trying to be disrespectful to the term, but I'm saying this term because I know my community can understand what I'm saying when I say this term. You talking about the 5-cent Indians? Like, who you talking about, Gwen? I'm not sure I quite understand that. It took me off track for just a moment, Gwen. Well, I would have to say, Gwen, that I disagree with that. I would disagree because they have lighter skin. I would have to say that a lot of Native Americans was lighting their asses up. That's what I would have to say. And a lot of Americans knew, I'd rather die than you enslave me. I'd rather die than you enslave me. Right? Yes, this is a great one right here, right? Thank you for that, family. A lot of Native Americans, it was their land that they were from. And with their spears and whatever else they used, they were strategic. They were strategic. Okay? A lot of them knew, listen, I'm going to get free or die trying. They knew what's up. And there were a lot of us as well that were enslaved that we knew what was up. So even though this person is saying they weren't shackled with chain and mutilated, right? Even though they're saying that, not all blacks were shackled and not all blacks were mutilated, but they didn't all come together. But we ain't going to have this history lesson. My point is in saying it, when people hear something that's so sensitive, like slavery is a sensitive topic. When people hear something that's so sensitive, instead of just saying, I don't agree with it, but I can unpack it, they get offended and then they want to write somebody off as crazy. And that's what happened to Kanye. They wrote him off as crazy. As opposed to you see what I try to tell my people, if we're gonna win this thing, whatever this thing is, if we're gonna win it, we gotta be critical in our thoughts. We gotta understand that we don't have to always like and agree with people, but we have to be able to unpack what is being said so we can understand it. And Kanye has demonstrated that quite often. Not all the time, but quite often he has unpacked things and understood it at a different level, on a different frequency that most people are not on. But the reason why that's not something that is explored and appreciated is because I believe is a black male. Whether you agree with it or not, I'm going to tell you why. Give me a second, family. I'm about to get there now. I'm going to tell you why. Now, let me break something down for y'all real quick before we get into my 4 reasons why this is the problem. First of all, if anybody knows about Kanye West's disorder, he has bipolar. Not how many of you guys believe bipolar to be. Thank you for that, Evolving 365. There you go. Evolving said it, right? Evolving, even in this frequency we in right now, revolting is always an option. Some of us know. Some of us know I'd rather die than be enslaved. Some of our ancestors knew I'd rather die than be enslaved. They were jumping off the boats to listen. I'll go in the water and lose my life before you enslave me. Some of our ancestors knew what was up. They knew what was up. But there's a lot of us in our community still to this day. We quick to call Kanye crazy. Who's really the crazy one? A lot of us in our community to this day is still afraid of their master. I'm just trying to say. A lot of us still afraid. We're not going to say certain things. We're not going to do certain things. We ain't going to rock certain boats because we're still afraid. We're still afraid. But let's get into Kanye West's disorder because I'm going to make this 4 points and I'm out. Right? Let's talk about this. I want y'all to know that bipolar is a mental health disorder. I'm going to get into this real quick. Y'all got to y'all got to follow me. And then I'm going to get into the excitement. The next 4 points I'm about to make. So y'all just got to listen to me because this is Mental Health Fridays. Share the video, y'all. Subscribe to the channel. Hit that like button. Hit that follow button on Facebook. Come on, family. This is Mental Health Fridays. And we can't have the discussion that I'm about to have if we're not unpacking the mental illness around it. So let's unpack it first. I need y'all to be with me. There's 2 types of bipolar. I got my little notes because I want to keep myself focused on it because I can go off the train when it comes to bipolar. There's bipolar 1 and there's bipolar 2. 2 different types of bipolar. What makes the difference between 1 and 2 is the mania. Right? Back in the days before it was bipolar, it was manic depressive. I know a lot of y'all heard about manic depressive. I know a lot of y'all heard about that, right? But now they say is bipolar. Bipolar. The mania, the part where you are up, when you are on your up, that is the factor. That is the key factor between 1 and 2. That is the key factor. When it comes to the depression part of it, depression is not required. Not that it cannot exist. Depression is not required in bipolar 1, but it can be present. It can be present. In bipolar 1, you most definitely going to have your manic episodes, your more ups, right? Your more ups, you're going to have it. But major depressive episodes can be there as well. Most people that have bipolar 1 will is why most people that have bipolar 2 is unipolar. Like they only have really like the depression part of it, and you don't really see the manic. But the manic can be there as well. It's usually hypomania. We'll talk about that. With bipolar 2, you need to have the major depressive part. You need to have that. And usually hypomania is there. It's not as excessive as bipolar 1. You got to understand that when we look closely at the manic portion of bipolar 1 and bipolar 2, to be honest with you, in bipolar 2, there are 7 criteria that can exist with bipolar 1 and bipolar 2 when a mania is there. The components are grandiosity, thinking of yourself as grandiose, like you're bigger than life. Like many people refer to narcissists because narcissists have grandiose personalities. Everything about them is important, is big, they hide in life. That's in bipolar as well. Understood that? There is a decreased need of sleep. So if they're not sleeping, they're more likely to go into a manic state. That is when it gets kind of like, woo, out there. That's when people see it. See, people can see you when you're in your manic state, right? People don't really see you, and it shouldn't be this way, but I'm talking about in our community. They don't really see you when you're in your depressed state. In our community, they see you in your depressed state. You just need to pray about it. Just give it to Jesus. Y'all know how we are in our community. When you in your depressed state, just give it to Jesus. Don't worry, he gonna fix it. God gonna bring you out of it. Ain't nothing that God can't do. Just pray on it, baby. Let it go. Don't think about it. If you're gonna ask God to fix it, don't you worry about it. That's what we say in our community, right? And then when you manic, we say you got the devil. That's how we think about mental illness in our community. Who's sick? Who's really the sick person? That's how we think about mental illness in our community. When you're manic and they see the grandiose part of you, they see that you're loquacious, meaning you're very talkative. They see you're losing sleep. They see you have a flight of ideas because all of this goes into the 7 criteria. Your thoughts keep running. You can't hold down one conversation. You go from another conversation to another conversation, back to the first conversation, to a third conversation, to a fourth conversation, back to the first conversation. You can't, your ideas just keep going. You like a 35-day alarm clock. You just keep going off and you can't stop. Highly distracted. People in the manic state is highly distracted all over the place. Can't keep a thought, can't keep an idea, can't sit down long enough, highly distracted all over the place. And whatever their goal is at that time, they have goal-directed activities. They do not sleep because they're constantly working on their goals. If you are sleeping, these people are awake, making it happen if they have goals, right? And they're focused on activities that are more likely to lead to some really painful consequences. So in our community, when we see somebody like that, the person that's highly distracted, the person that's loquacious, they just talking. The person that can't have one train of thought, they bounce from one idea to another idea to another idea. The person that thinks of themselves bigger than life, grandiose in their personality, when they see that, they say he got the devil. He got the devil. That's what our community do. He need Jesus. He need Jesus. He got the devil in him. Ooh, we got to pray that Satan just leave that boy alone. I know some of y'all feeling some kind of way right now, but that's okay. Satan got to leave that boy right now. Oh, no one thinks about taking him to get help, but Satan got to leave that boy alone right now. We're going to pray, grab hands. We're going to pray for Satan to leave his body right now. This is what we do in our community. We don't know how to deal with someone who's in bipolar 1 life, right? Because it's a lot to deal with somebody who has bipolar 1. It's a lot. It just goes and goes and goes and it don't stop. And they become argumentative. They'll argue you down, tooth and nail, baby. And they with it. Because once they wake up and their mind get on something, woo, baby, they're going to research it all damn day. They're researching their writing. They're researching their writing. They think about it. They formulate. That's why he can do that. That's why Ye can do that. That's why he can talk about things and unpack it and flip it around and do things that other people can't do. Because while you sleeping, he's taking over the world. That's why I say he got a beautiful mind. But people can't understand that because they don't tend to look at mental illness as beautiful. The stigma attached to it don't allow them to look at mental illness as beautiful. They can't even see the beauty in his mind. Because to them, he got the devil. He nutty. That boy nutty. Right? Whereas somebody who has bipolar 2, hypomania, whereas they may have had one episode but never went back to another episode of manic, right? They have more of the depression that shows through. So people are more able to deal with them. And people that fall into bipolar 2, usually, not all the time, but usually their episodes are 4 days. They got to deal with this for 4 days. Whereas somebody like Kanye, their episode can last at minimum a week, sometimes longer. 4 days is easy to deal with somebody who's depressed, right? 4 days and then boom, they pull themselves out of it and they're ready to get back on top of the world. I mean, their lows are low. Ain't nothing you can say or do, even if you say, let's give it to Jesus and pray on it. Ain't nothing you can do to help them. Their lows are low, but they can come out of it in 4 days, where somebody like Kanye West just can't. Oftentimes, people in that stage need medication. Right? Thank you for that, Lena. I appreciate that. Oftentimes, people like that need medication. But here's the thing that I'm concerned about. Well, I also think he got some schizoaffective disorder in there, but we ain't gonna get into schizoaffective disorder tonight. We ain't gonna. I think he got some schizoaffective in it, but you know what? I'm not his psych, so you know I'm not gonna get into that today. But he definitely is bipolar 1. I definitely saw it. If you watch that trilogy, you can see it. If you watch the things that he's been saying about Kim Kardashian and the parenting and the kids and how he can go on and on and on and on and on about this, and he's the best thing in the world, and you know, the way he just go on about this stuff, he got bipolar 1, no doubt. And if anybody has ever had a family member with bipolar 1, baby, can I just tell you, it's a lot. It's a lot, especially if psychosis is present. Some people got psychosis. Some of them got to be on suicide watch. This is not a joke. Family, you just can't give it to Jesus. You just can't pray it over. You just can't call in the pastor to do an exorcism. You can't. But we don't tend to look at mental health like that in our community. We want to say things that we hear on TV about Kanye. Oh, I mean, that's crazy. He can get crazy. Now, can there be a correlation between bipolar 1 and aggression? Absolutely. There's a correlation between substance abuse and aggression. There's a correlation between schizophrenic and schizoaffective and aggression. There's a correlation between sex addicts and aggression. There's a correlation between a lot of disorders and aggression. Absolutely. Aggression can happen. But there are other factors that got to be present for these things to happen. Now, I'm not going to be on here and say Kanye ain't going to lose his mind and do something. I'm not going to sit in here and say that because I don't know the man's personal life. He's not a patient of mine, so I can't speak towards it. I can't tell you whether or not he's using substances that might increase the act of aggression. I can't say that. I'm saying, can it happen? Absolutely. It can happen during acute and psychotic episodes, most definitely. Definitely. But is he having a psychotic episode right now? I can't say. I'm not in his personal circle. I see the grandiose coming through. I see the flight of ideas coming through. I see the fact that he's highly distracted. I see that coming through. I see that he's goal oriented right now. When I say goal oriented, his goal is to show Kim K, whatever her name is, how much he hurt her. I mean, how much she hurt him. That's his goal. He's directed. That he is directed. When they get directed and they lock in, they keep going. And ain't nothing you say that's going to bring him off that horse. Not until the mania comes down. And if he has the depression component of it, and the depression component kicks in, he's going to be on that high horse. He's going to be there until he comes off of it. Until he comes off of it. But here's my problem. Then I'm out, y'all. I got 10 minutes. Let me see if I can break this down for 10 minutes. Here's my 4 issues I'm having with this. Why do I need to have this conversation about a Black man that clearly is having a mental health breakdown? Why do I have that conversation? Why isn't main media talking about this man and his mental illness? Why isn't main media taking this as an opportunity to educate America or the world on mental illness, and specifically bipolar 1 and 2? Why isn't main media doing that? Why are they highlighting this man like he is the O.J. Simpson? Oh, did any of y'all think about that? I did. The way I saw the way media's going at it, and the way they talking about as though I'm afraid for Kim. Now, I'm not saying nothing about Kim, right? I'm not saying this is not what I'm doing. That's not what I'm doing. I'm not going to down one to pick up the other person. I'm not going to do that, but I am going to talk about what the facts are. How often are we seeing segments around Kanye and his disorder, and how often are we seeing episodes and segments educating the community on his disorder? How often are we talking about that, America? But no, you see a Black man who you're not saying anything about his mental illness. You really just seen a Black man that's aggressive. And everybody is coming to the rescue because he's dangerous. Not that he's sick. He's dangerous. But how many times when we saw outbursts from white men who have mental illnesses, and there are episodes surrounding mental illness? There are a lot of people talking about it. They're raising awareness. They're bringing on professionals with respect to this. They're educating the public. They're creating little ribbons, yellow ribbons, and all these other colorful ribbons to highlight their support for people with different mental illnesses. But what about Kanye? What about Kanye? Why isn't our community? See, we expect the main media, the propaganda machine, and the jokers that don't like free thinking Negroes, we expect them to do what they're doing. We expect them to do what they're doing. But why isn't our community highlighting the issues around bipolar or other mental illnesses? Why isn't our community talking about it? Why isn't our community taking a different stance and saying, I may not agree with everything that he's doing, but we got to look at the bigger picture here? Why is our community having a hard time looking at the bigger picture? Why? I'm sitting here scratching my head that I don't see enough of us sharing to talk about let's raise mental health awareness in our communities, because a lot of our family members are suffering from this. We don't see people talking about that, but instead we're quickly sharing the videos and saying, yeah, he done lost his mind. This is what we're doing. I understand he hurt, but that's not how you deal with it. You don't go to social media and talk about your baby mama like that. Some of the stuff he's saying is crazy, yo. Wait, yay, destroying his whole life. But we're not talking about the illness associated with it. See, I keep telling our community over and over and over again that we are in a fishbowl. And we have to be very careful about the things that we say about one another and the things that we do concerning one another. We have to be very careful about that, because if we're not highlighting it, they're not going to highlight it. If we're saying, oh boy, crazy, they're going to say it crazy. They're going to do it even worse. That's why eye to eye. I think the situation is very sad, as eye to eye says. It's very sad. And we're not looking at the sadness in it. We're looking at the entertainment in it. And that's why I get disgusted by us. Because everything is so goddamn entertaining for us. And it bothers me. It makes me sick to my stomach, because people's babies are suffering from this disorder. And they don't even know it. Yet they're beating them. They're putting them on punishment. They're calling them stupid. That's how nobody like you. What you crying for now? You better suck it up. Go ahead and go to school and keep acting crazy. See what's going to happen to you. You go out there acting crazy like that. Don't be surprised if you end up dead or in jail. This is how we talk about our children with illnesses, whether they're an adult child or not. This is how we talk about our children with illnesses. And I get frustrated because I see it the way we talk about Kanye. I see it. I see it. Oh, I told you I was Mental Health Friday. Don't come on here with your high mighty self today. Don't act like you don't want to hear about it today. Don't get all salty today. It's Mental Health Friday. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about how this man is being vilified for acting out on his emotions, for demonstrating his illness. He's expected to get it all together. Not that he got an illness. He's a regular man that's acting out, right? This is how we see him. This is how we see him. Not that he has an illness and it's hard for him to contain himself and bring his emotions under control. It's hard for him to do it because he's in a manic state. No, we're not going to see that because we're not educated around mental illness. Oh, but their community is. They're not going to highlight him. No. They're not going to highlight his illness. They're going to see him as being a villain. He's a villain. And men, particularly men, and specifically black men specifically, but I'm going to say men for right now. Men are vilified when they show any emotions. Any emotion. Remember, anger is an emotion. Happy and sad is an emotion. Pissed off is an emotion. Those are all emotions. They're vilified if they show any of those emotions. But what about the women? That they too suffer from bipolar and they start acting out. What about the women? I mean, what she did was wrong. She shouldn't have never set no fire to his car, but I can understand that she was mad. Really? Don't act like y'all don't say that. I mean, that was effed up. She ain't have to set no fire to that house, kill them babies. That was messed up. But I also understand how a man can drive a woman crazy and drive her to do that. I don't think she really wanted to hurt those people. I just think she lost control of her emotions, and that's why she set the house on fire. Oh, so y'all didn't want to hear that, right? Oh, because I'm a woman. I'm not supposed to say that, right? I'm not supposed to go against the women code, right? No. I'm calling everybody out. I'm calling everybody out. Men get vilified when their mental illness comes through, and women get excuses. Now, I am going to say that black women too that have mental illnesses, right? They don't necessarily highlight their mental illnesses unless it's depression, unless she takes her life by suicide. Then they want to highlight depression, and depression is real and we got to help them. Or she falls into a situation when she's depressed and she's a mom and something happens. Then they want to highlight postpartum. Then they want to talk about that kind of stuff. But let her be bipolar 1. They're not going to educate your community on bipolar 1. She's going to be crazy. She's going to go to jail too. They're going to lock up her mental illness behind and put her in jail as opposed to putting her into a hospital and getting her help. Why? Because she's a black woman. So the same thing happens to black women as it do to black men. But what I'm saying for this episode, what I'm saying right here with what we're seeing with Kanye West, we're vilifying him and men like him because we're not looking at the illness, we're looking at the behavior. Oh, y'all didn't hear me. We ain't looking at the illness, we're looking at the behavior. And when we see black men act out, it scares us. Oh, I'm afraid he's going to do something to Kim K. Now, I'm not telling you not to be afraid because I don't know. I can't co-sign on the man. I don't know if he's in a psychosis state. If he's in a psychosis state, he could get aggressive. I don't know. I can't talk about that. I'm not his doctor. But what I am saying to you all, that what bothers me the most is that we vilify men that have mental illnesses and we don't see the illness, we see the behavior and we make him a bad guy. But when women do the same thing, we understand why she's angry because he hurt her heart. Oh, but y'all not going to act like y'all do that, right? Y'all don't want to talk about that. Y'all don't want to talk about that. Y'all don't want to talk about how women can burn down your whole goddamn house with your mama and the kids in it. I ain't making this up. You can Google it. You can Google it. She got mad at her boyfriend and did what? Burn down the house with his mama and her grandkids. I'm just trying to say, I ain't making this up. I shared about it. I shared about it before. Burn down that whole goddamn house. And people say that's messed up. She shouldn't have done that. Them babies didn't deserve that. But I can understand because men can drive us crazy and women can't. Women can't drive men crazy. This is what we doing today in 2022. Y'all talking about equality, but when it really gets down to equality, y'all don't want equality. Yes, I said it. Go ahead and get your attitude. Go ahead. I told you it's not going to be an easy episode today. I told you it's going to be controversial today. I already said it. I already said it. Let's really tell the truth of what the truth is. I understand leaving these women out here like that to raise these kids. What about the men that want their kids? And these women out here driving their asses crazy, triggering their mental illness. I'm just saying. Can we talk real? Can we get out of this dichotomous thinking? It's either a man or a woman and change the word or to and is men and women. Can we just get out of that for a second? It ain't all the black men. It's the black man and the black woman. Can we really have this conversation for a second? It ain't all women. It's women and men. Can we have that conversation for a second? But no, are we only going to see what Ye is doing? And he's the bad guy. Bad Ye. You bad. Let me tell you why America is doing what they're doing. Shout out to Clarence. Thank you so much, right? Right? He said in Western society, only women are allowed to be victims. I don't know if that's true only in Western societies, but I get your point, brother. I get your point, brother. I don't know if that's true, though. I ain't co-signing that, but I get your point, brother. Let me tell you why America is doing what they're doing. America's on notice about the black man with money and aggression. And no one can say, well, Ye ain't never been, he never did nothing aggressive. He never did A, B, and C, right? Y'all can't say that, right? Y'all can't say that because, he may not have, but it don't matter. And the reason why y'all can't say that because, at the end of the day, they on notice from OJ. They ain't playing with no black man with money who acting nutty. They're not going to see a black man as having a mental illness. They're going to see him as acting nutty. So they're not playing with no black man that's acting up and he got money and his woman is white. Come on, I'm just telling you, y'all don't want to hear it. I'm just trying to say it. Oh, no, they're not playing no games. Oh, no, baby. OJ done messed that up for you all. So, of course, they're going to see Kanye as an immediate threat. Of course, the media is all going to be talking out against him. Ain't nobody going to say, what is going on? Is anyone getting him help? No one's going to say that. Oh, no, a black man with money and a white woman with kids. Oh, no, baby. OJ done messed that up. And don't come in here till my OJ didn't do it. Because you wasn't there and I wasn't there. But I'll tell you what OJ did do. OJ did mess it up. That's what OJ did do. So now anybody on there, black with money, and you got a white woman, because we know black women get killed all the time. They don't highlight our behinds. Always so sad. Always so sad. Black women get killed by white men all the time. And ain't nobody highlighting that. Ain't nobody talking about it. Ain't nobody talking about it. What about that last Bumbo girl? I mean, I'm not saying whether she deserves it or not. I ain't saying nothing. I'm keeping my mouth shut in that area because no one deserves to die. Let me just say that. No one deserves to get murdered. Let me just say that. But y'all know about that Bumble girl, right? The one that met the white guy on Bumble. The one that, said that she didn't want to deal with the black men anymore. She left the black community. She divested. And she went into the white man. And the cops said that they didn't have him as a suspect, even though he was the last one with her and slept over at her house and she was dead in the bed next to him. He called the cops. But remember, the cops said that he sounded like he was a nice guy. He was a nice guy, so they let him go. He's a nice guy. I don't think he's a suspect. He was a nice man. Let your black behind wake up next to her behind, see if you a nice man, and you ain't no suspect. But I'm just saying. America is always going to take a different stance with the black man acting like that. They are. He is a threat. You hear me? Here's my last point. Here's my fourth and final point that I'm out of here. I just want to make this very clear. I do not condone Kanye West's behavior. I understand it. I don't condone it, but I understand it because I understand my brother has a mental illness. I understand that. I do not condone it, but I understand it because he has a mental illness. And I'm asking you all that we have to understand it. You don't got to like Kanye. I can care less. What he eat don't make me poop. You don't got to like Kanye, but you got to understand it. You got to understand that the things that he is saying is associated with his disorder. I am so upset that America is not highlighting this. I'm so upset that the public is not being educated on bipolar 1 and bipolar 2. I am so upset that the public is not seeing this man as being sick. I am so upset by that. I'm so upset that they're not looking at all the triggers in his life that's contributing to this. They're not looking at any of that. It doesn't mean that what he is doing is right. I'm not condoning that. I am not saying that. But I'm saying that we have to learn how to have compassion. We have to learn how to have empathy. I'm not asking you guys to sympathize with him and feel bad for him and feel sorry for him. I'm not asking you guys to do it. I sympathize with him. I empathize with him, and I have compassion for him. I'm asking you guys to consider that because Kanye is your brother. He is your friend. He is your child. He is your nephew. He is your grandchild. I'm asking you guys to be able to see that. He is your coworker. He is your neighbor. You ain't got to agree with him, even though what he does say half the time that should be true, whether you like it or not. He be telling the truth. I know a lot of y'all don't hear because y'all don't want it. Y'all just don't like the way it sounds. Y'all don't like the way it sounds, and y'all don't like the way he's delivering it because you see the grandiose personality that's coming through because it's part of bipolar 1. You see that coming through and you're bothered by it. It turns you off. Whereas I laugh. I laugh because it's my field. And I'm not laughing because, haha, it's funny. I'm like, wow, look at that. That's beautiful. That's how I laugh. I'm like, that's beautiful. For me, it's beautiful. Now, I ain't going to lie to y'all. When I got to work with it, I'll be like, oh, God, Lord Jesus, so we doing this again today. But when you have compassion, you're able to follow it and you're able to bring them in and bring them down. But you got to know what you're doing. You got to be able to say, okay, come on, get down. That's how I am as a therapist, right? When they go off on it, when they go up, okay, let's get down. Let's ground these thoughts. They're going off. I got to follow this bounce. Let's ground these thoughts. And they already know what's up because they're used to work with my personality. They don't get turned off easily, right? They're used to work with my personality because I'm going to tell you like it is. I'm going to ground them thoughts. Bring them goddamn thoughts back in. You going all over the place. Let's weight them down. One thought at a time, bro. One thought at a time. This is the thought. We're talking about, You're hurt. You're hurt by Kim. We're going to talk about Kim today. You're hurt by Kim. We're not talking about everything else. We're not talking about Trump. We're not talking about white America and black America. We ain't talking about all that. We're talking about Kim. Today we're talking about Kim. Tomorrow you bring the other shit. Today we're talking about Kim. But if people don't know how to work with that, they only see the nuttiness behind it. That's disturbing for them. Thank you, Alex. I appreciate that. Right? Let's see what this person is saying. Funmi is saying, I did notice that he started acting off his mother's demise, but thought he was using substances to dull the pain. I eventually found out that he was bipolar. Didn't make sense. However, I don't think he says intelligent things or see him as a free thinker. Your opinion. Understand, I respect that. But I respect that he made a success of himself in spite of his problems. I'll watch the Netflix show anyhow. Maybe I'll see a different side. And that's okay. I can understand why you don't think he says intelligent things because, and I'm not saying it to be funny. I'm not saying it to be funny. So with all due respect, I'm not saying to be funny, but you know, we all have our opinions, but I do want to give you some pushback on that, right? In order to be a critical thinker, you don't have to agree with what somebody is saying. You got to be able to see it from their perspective and unpack it. You got to be able to tease it out and start to make sense of it, and then so you can understand where they're coming from. Because he's just not just saying crazy things out of the clear blue sky. He's not just saying crazy things. You're looking at it as crazy because you're looking at it through the lens of you seeing him as a normal person like you and I. And if somebody does not really understand what bipolar is and doesn't understand how these thoughts can go off, you're not able to follow his thoughts. If you're able to follow their thoughts make a lot of sense. You don't have to agree with it. But if you listen to them, they will give you a different perspective and you can unpack it from there. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not like he's having type of episodes that's consistent with somebody who's schizoaffective. And I'm not trying to get into mental health real quick. I'm about to end the show. I'm not trying to get into that. But somebody who's schizoaffective, they start having delusional thoughts. There's nothing that he says is delusional. He's not having delusional thoughts. He's not seeing things that isn't there. He's a very critical thinker. And I'm not saying it's in turn of you, Funmi, because I don't know you. But if a person is not critical in their thoughts, they can never understand a critical thinker. It's funny how we see him as unintelligent, but we see somebody like Albert Einstein as intelligent. That's the craziest thing to me. Have you read that man's story? I mean, that's the craziest thing to me. What we do, that's the stuff that gets under my skin. I'm just saying. Again, we don't have to like this man. That's not the purpose of today's broadcast. The purpose of today's broadcast is to open you up to see the mind of somebody who lives with a mental illness and not see it as unintelligent or crazy. Because there's a lot of people who have mental illnesses and mental disorders that they're smarter than what you will ever be. They are smarter than what you will ever be. But if we can't see them for their minds and we see them for their behavior, we're not able to see it. And that's why mental illnesses has a stigma, or that's one of the reasons why it has a stigma attached to it. Because it's a bad thing. It's a bad thing. And that's why we have so many people in our community that go untreated because we can't see it as a beautiful thing. That's right, Alex Little. Alex Little said A Beautiful Mind is a great movie. Absolutely. Have any of you guys seen A Beautiful Mind? But again, we can see it from this white man doing all of that, right? We see it from the white man doing. Sorry about that, family. I hit the wrong button by accident. That was me. I hit the wrong button. But we see a white man doing that, and we see how beautiful his mind is. Let a black man do something like that. We say he's shell-shocked, he crazy, that man got PTSD, he got issues and problems. I don't play around with that man. I don't say nothing to him. He might kill you tomorrow. That's what we say. No, Monique, they didn't cut me. That was me. I hit the wrong button because I was about to get on out of here, and it brought me out the studio. I did that by accident. We don't think about it like that. So I end this video by asking you guys to have some compassion. You ain't gotta like Ye. You don't gotta agree with Ye. But see him through the lens of somebody who is ill. See him through that lens. Nobody was talking about that movie, Beautiful Mind, where his wife was scared as hell of his disorder, right? No one saw that. No one was like, oh my God, I'm so worried about her. He might kill her. Nobody was saying that. And that's based off a true story. Nobody was saying that. I'm just saying. So listen, family, that's all I have for you guys today. Some of my ladies out there, y'all been asking me when it's going to be the next Iris class. If it's not going to be at the end of this month, it's going to be the beginning of the next month. Iris will be back in full flesh, but you guys can go ahead to theiriswoman.com. To my ladies, this is for my ladies. I haven't come up with the man's program yet. I'm going to put something together for you guys. But to my ladies, you guys can go to theiriswoman.com and review any of the courses that are there that's going to help you better your relationships. And maybe I will actually put together a training for people who are in relationships with people who have mental illnesses. Because fellas, y'all can act like it ain't you. But a lot of you fellas, whether your woman is diagnosed or not, because you know why black people don't like to be going into the therapist. Y'all don't want to talk to the shrink, as you would say it, right? But a lot of you fellas, with all due respect, y'all in relationships with women that got bipolar. And if they ain't got bipolar, they got borderline personality, usually two disorders that are actually misdiagnosed, right? A lot of you guys are in relationships with women just like that. So y'all can benefit from this. And I'm gonna put together a training because I want to help y'all through your relationships, because a lot of y'all in relationships with people that got mental illnesses. Let's just talk real. Let's just have a real conversation. So I love every last one of you guys. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button to this YouTube channel. If you're on Facebook, go ahead and like and follow my Facebook channel. Give this video a thumbs up, or y'all can be haters and give it a thumbs down. I don't care. Just make sure it's in the YouTube algorithm. And last but not least, if you're not already following me on Instagram, I suggest you go there. Instagram is a fluffy community. There's nothing about all of this stuff that I talk about that's controversial. I talk about relationships, and I give it from both the man and the woman's perspective, and I give you some good stuff. So go ahead over to my Instagram channel, which is Dr. Shonna. Go ahead to that Instagram channel, follow me over there, engage me over there. But remember, if you start bringing up shit that I talk on YouTube, on Instagram, I'm going to ignore you. Leave that shit for YouTube. Don't bring that to my Instagram family. We keep some things separate, right? I love you all. Have a blessed night. Peace.